Devuan 6.0 codename Excalibur has been released. This just happened and it's fantastic. Now, for those of you who don't know about Devuan, it's a fork of Debian. And it was initially really started as a fork of Debian to not include systemd. They use the phrase init freedom, which I love, right? So you can use a multitude of different init scripts with Devuan, like initv and what have you. And so that's really kind of the core of where it came from. But Devuan has a few other really big selling points. The biggest for me selling point of Devuan over Debian is that they have what they call the almost no code of conduct. And it's a very real thing. Let me read some of it to you now, because this is important to me, and not because I need to use software that is made by people that I politically agree with. I don't care about that. But what I want to be able to think is that I can trust the people who are building the software that I rely upon. Because if I can't trust the people that are building the software that I utilize every single day, then I can't trust the software itself. Now with Debian's become very discriminatory. Debian's become very, for lack of a better word, very woke. Can I trust Debian? Well, I don't think I can. So that's where Devuan really changes in this regard. It doesn't just change away from systemd, which I'm not a huge systemd fan. It's not very Unixy in philosophy. I like the do one thing, do it well, keep it simple, stupid sort of approach to things. And systemd is just sort of the antithesis of that, right? They throw everything and the kitchen sink and a couple of dead cats into an init script and they go crazy with it. But Devuan goes for init freedom and non-wokiness. So they've had this in place since 2016, because Devuan is not just some random knee-jerk reaction protest fork of a piece of software. They've been around for, a long time. So quite a large number of years now, with the 6th major release that happens here. Let me show you the schedule here. Going all the way back to 2016, but Chimera, Daedalus, and now Excalibur and Beowulf before them, going back every 2 years or so. But so here's their almost no code of conduct, right? So it was very simple. It's if you are welcome here, if you come in peace, be mutually respectful to people, and that sort of thing. But here's where they really diverge from many of the very woke software projects. Quote, "We accept everyone's contribution. We do not care if you're liberal or conservative, black or white, straight or gay, or anything in between. In fact, we don't bring it up or ask, nor should you." Done. I love it. I mean, that's fantastic, right? No discrimination. Meritocracy, build good software. See, this is what I like to see in my software and engineering organizations. They're focused on the code. They're not discriminating against people. Everyone's welcome. You can be a lefty or a righty or a conservative or progressive or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just come and build great code and be respectful of each other and show each other mutual respect in the profession that they're working in, and we'll all get along just fine and build something awesome. I love that. I like to see more of that. And so I'm a big fan of what they're doing right here. So there's a lot of reasons to go with Devuan. I'm currently using Devuan. Those two reasons, no systemd and it being a non-woke fork of Debian, essentially. For me, those seal the deal right there. If you're going to be going the Debian route, Devuan is a great alternative if you're trying to get away with the craziness that happens in Debian world, right? So I've got a secondary laptop that I'm currently running right now. Actually, it's a framework laptop. Currently running it. It's running Devuan, no system D. It's great. With X Libre as my X server, naturally. XFCE as my desktop environment, and I'm actually running right now on it a theme called Chicago 95, which almost perfectly mimics the Windows 95 interface. So I've got a version of Devuan rocking right now that just basically looks like Windows 95. It's glorious. I've even got like little themes and icons and whatnot to make LibreOffice and a few other things look like era appropriate Word and that sort of thing. It's glorious. What I love about that setup, just to indulge me for a moment, is it's a nice blend of old school Linux and modern pieces and parts, right? I can run everything I want. I can put Steam on there. I can run more cutting edge video games. I can run OBS and do video editing on there. It's fantastic, brand new software, all runs great. But it feels like a mid 1990s computer, right? It has the look and feel of something from 1995. It's fast as greased up lightning, and it's very, very lightweight, and it's just really glorious. It's like the golden age of computing. For me, the 90s was a very special time, both in terms of user interfaces and speed and leanness and the purity of it all. And I really liked that era. So you take what is, in my opinion, some of the great bits from that era, or some of the fun, weird bits from that era, and run a system like that nowadays, it scratches that nostalgia itch while giving me a completely modern system. I highly recommend it. It's devuan.org, devuan.org. I absolutely support it. It runs on a bunch of different platforms, ARM and PowerPC and everything else. It ships with in the archives and in the installer a bunch of different desktop environments. I've only used it with XFCE. I know that KDE and Cinnamon and everything else is on there, but I've only used it with XFCE. That's all I've ever done. I should also be noted that they're in their default desktop environments, GNOME is not listed. I'm sorry, that makes me smile a little bit. Now a question comes up in this though, and this is a question that's I think going to be asked a lot in the days ahead. Debian announced over the last couple of days that they were going to be instituting in 6 months a hard dependency on Rust for apt. So basically meaning they were going to make it so it really wasn't possible to create a supported, reliable PowerPC version of Debian going forward into the future, which Devuan has as a fork of Debian. And the reason for that is the Rust compiler toolchain considers platforms like PowerPC to be very, very low priority, right? They call them a tier 3 or something like that in terms of support. And it kind of sort of works in some cases and kind of sort of doesn't in other cases and is generally not supported going forward. And Debian, in fact, has made the statement that if you're working on a platform that doesn't currently support basically everything from the modern Rust programming toolchain, that you have 6 months to figure out how to make it work, or you need to abandon and sunset your port of Debian. So if you're working on DEC alphas or M68K machines or PowerPC machines, any of these others or specific ARM architectures, you have 6 months to put in the work to port all the Rust tools to that platform and architecture, make sure it's very well supported, and convince the Rust developers to support it going forward, which is not an easy task. They're not going to want to do that. They've made statements along those lines. They don't want to support those platforms, or you need to abandon them, and they're just going to get rid of those going forward. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Devuan chooses to approach this. I mean, there's a good argument to be made that Devuan has already decided to move away from Debian and some pretty key places, right? They still keep the package format. They still have apt and all that sort of thing, but they have a totally different init script. They're not using systemd. They've changed the dependencies in a large number of packages because of that. So maybe it's just time to fork apt. Maybe, right? Or just have a complete apt replacement so that Devuan can continue to support a wider variety of architectures and have systems that don't mandate a Rust compiler toolchain. But we'll see. We'll see what the Debian developers decide to do, because I mean, all of this takes time, all of this takes resources, and those things are finite. So we'll see what the Devuan crew decides that they want to do going forward. Just the same, as of right now, Devuan is one of the Linux distributions I recommend. I do run it on one of my secondary machines, OpenMandriva being my primary box right now, and I'm extraordinarily happy with it. Omarchi is also quite good. Ghost BSD is also excellent. There's a lot of really good non-woke operating systems, Linux and BSD flavors out there, and I would include Devuan among them, very high on the list, especially for someone coming from either Debian or Ubuntu and wants an environment that feels like home, that is using apt as the package manager. It's a good way to go. It's a good exit vehicle if you're trying to get away from Debian and Ubuntu. Thank you to all of the Lunduke Journal subscribers for making it possible to do all of this sorts of coverage. Go to lunduke.com, click on links. You love clicking on links. Everyone loves clicking on links. And scroll down on that page, and you can find a little how to support the Lunduke Journal section. Down in there, you'll notice there's, like right now on the screen, if you're seeing the video version, it says 50% off through November 7th of subscriptions. And if you're seeing this after then, be sure to check lunduke.com just in case there's another sale going on, because there's always one sale or another happening at the Lunduke Journal. Because realistically, the Lunduke Journal can't do this without all of your support. And so I try to make it as easy as possible for all of you to actually support the Lunduke Journal. So go to lunduke.com, click on some links, pick a subscription type that you like, monthly, yearly, or lifetime, which is a pay once and have a subscription for life, which is pretty friggin' rad, just like all of these folks have done. This is the Lunduke Journal amazing lifetime subscriber wall. I've still got a couple more I need to add to this list. I'm gonna have to add another page soon. And I only add people to this wall if they email me and they say, hey, Lunduke, I want to be on your wall of shame. I mean, lifetime subscribers, put me up there, man. You tell me what name you want to go by, an alias. You'll notice some people just want to be listed as anonymous. One guy literally said, just call me Guy. His name's not Guy. He just was like, call me Guy. I'm like, all right, Guy. So there you go. Guy is listed there among my lifetime subscribers. However you want to be listed, it's totally up to you. I'm not going to out anyone unless you tell me to. So again, thank you to all the lifetime subscribers. I couldn't do it without you guys. I couldn't stay big tech free and ad free. You notice there's no sponsors on this show. There's no, this episode brought to you by Square Flugenflagen. Like, there's none of that. Because if I did that, I'd have to listen to that company. Right? If I took money from Google, I'd have to listen to Google. If I took money from Canonical or Microsoft or Red Hat, I'd have to listen to each of them. I don't want to have to do that. I want to be able to tell you what I actually think, even if it's unpopular, even if it would get my corporate sponsors in a lot of trouble. So no corporate sponsors, just all of you making this possible. Couldn't do it without you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare, end broadcast.